What's up guys, I'm Soda Pop, this is the left pedal, and last week we got to take the 2020 Camaro SS out for a review and test drive. Today we're going to take a closer look at the Camaro's technical details and specs and see why the car performs the way it does. We're going to cover a lot of information about this car in a short period of time. Should be a pretty fun episode, so let's get into it. The 2SS is a very fun car to drive, but it's noticeably heavy. Depending on the options, the SS Coupe weighs in around 3,700 pounds, up to nearly 4,000 pounds. The car is 188 inches long with a wheelbase of 111 inches. It's 75 inches wide and 53 inches tall. Being that the Camaro is a relatively heavy and powerful car, it requires some pretty good brakes. The car is equipped with 4-piston Brembo brakes in the front and rear. These allow the vehicle to drop from 60 miles per hour to a complete stop in only 117 feet. Behind the brakes, the Camaro sits on McPherson-type struts in the front with an independent 5-link suspension in the rear. It utilizes a magnetic ride control system to put the car in different driving modes depending on what you're trying to do. The car's 4 driving modes are Touring, Snow and Ice, Sport, and Track. Depending on the driving mode, the car will adjust the suspension for ideal responsiveness and grip. The driving modes also have an effect on the pedals, making them more or less receptive. The electric power-assisted rack and pinion steering is also tweaked between modes. And the transmission and automatic models will be held in gear longer in Sport and Track modes to allow RPMs to get up higher during acceleration. Speaking of acceleration, let's get into what you guys really want to hear about, the performance specs. The Camaro SS accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in right around the 4-second mark. The vehicle is aerodynamically drag limited somewhere between 165 and 180 miles an hour depending on your weight, options, and altitude. Meaning that at this speed, the Camaro can no longer overcome the air resistance required to accelerate any faster. The Chevy is powered by GM's 6.2-liter LT1 V8 engine. According to the factory, the engine produces a maximum of 455 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, with torque topping out around 455 pound-feet at 4,400 RPM. Now you do have to remember that the factories rate these cars by brake horsepower, meaning that the power is measured from the engine. Wheel horsepower is how much of that energy actually makes it through the drivetrain to the rear wheels. My guess would be that the Camaro probably makes around 400 horses to the rear wheels, but I had no way of testing this in our review car. However, if you do have your own dyno numbers on a Gen 6 Camaro, please leave them in the comments. I'd actually love to see them. Now, the LT1 is an aluminum block direct injection pushrod V8 engine, which is some pretty old school engineering. Pushrod engines are more compact than overhead cam engines with a lower center of gravity. This is good for handling. The lower the center of gravity, the better. Pushrod engines also give you the ability to fit more displacement in a smaller engine bay. The trade-off is that these engines are typically limited to 2 valves per cylinder and are limited to lower RPMs. GM has a lot of experience building pushrod V8s, and the LT1 is an objectively good engine. At no point driving the car did I feel like I truly needed more power. The car has a lot of low-end torque and delivers power quickly and smoothly. It has a 19-gallon fuel tank and a range between 300 and 450 miles. You may have noticed that during the review I never mentioned the gas mileage of the car, and that's because I could hardly justify bringing it up in a video about a Camaro SS. But for information's sake, it gets 16 miles a gallon in the city and 24 miles a gallon on the highway. Less if you're having any fun in the car. When we test drove ours, we didn't get anywhere near the factory fuel economy, by the way. We averaged out around 14 miles a gallon. The automatic version of the Camaro does have cylinder deactivation for increased fuel economy, meaning that it shuts off 4 of the cylinders when you're not driving it hard. Some people like this, some people hate it. In my short experience in the car, I really didn't notice it that much. The car kicks you back up to 8 cylinders for the power you need when you want to put your foot on the gas. I'm assuming that if you own the vehicle for any length of time, you'd be able to tell the pros and cons of the system pretty quick. But like I said in the beginning of the video, this was just a look at the technical specs of the Camaro. As we all know, numbers aren't everything. If you'd like to see more about the actual driving experience of the car, make sure to check out the review we did last week. It was really fun. We got to run the car up and down the beach, got a lot of cool footage. Anyways, thank you for watching, and a special thank you to all of our subscribers. I'm Soda Pop, this is the left pedal, and I will see you next time.